Do you consider your mind to be open to new ideas or completely closed? Here's a little test for you. It won't hurt much. Here's how it works. When I make a statement, just think about how you feel, and then think about why you feel that way. Here's the first phrase. 2 plus 2 equals 4. There, that wasn't so bad, was it? You feel okay with that, right? Now, why do you feel that way? Well, that's what you were taught, and it's easy to prove for yourself with just 4 items at your disposal. What about colours in a rainbow? Colours in a rainbow are due to the refraction of light and always appear in a certain order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, etc. Right, you might have had to think about that one a little bit more. That was what you were taught, and it may have taken a few seconds to realise I wasn't trying to catch you out, and it's still fairly easy to prove for yourself with a sprinkler in the sunshine, or a prism, or maybe a CD, so that's okay, isn't it? Now let's get a little more difficult. We never went to the moon. I'm guessing about 50-50 maybe. Some might nod and say they agree. There's a large amount or a body of evidence to cast doubt over the claim after researching it. Like no one able to get through the Van Allen belt today, the lost original footage, the fact everyone that went were Masons, etc., etc. But you're probably harbouring a little uncertainty still because of what you were told way back when and what you believed as a kid. A little doublethink, if you will. Others are probably thinking how preposterous the statement is. They're probably thinking about the contradicting evidence that's been debunked and why would NASA lie? Furthermore, how would a secret be kept so long and everybody knows we went anyway? Okay, but you can't check that one personally. So we have to rely on our own faith and tests that can be performed here on Earth, like thrust in a vacuum chamber or analysis of photos, and even then we might not be able to do it ourselves, so we have to rely on a third party's evidence. Maybe it's a little bit trickier now. I'm guessing we've got a couple splitting off into the blind acceptance camp, or the critical thinking camp after that one. Either way, solid evidence is not forthcoming, except that being claimed from the only group to supposedly go there, so good luck proving it either way. So here's another. What about the phrase, the Earth is flat? Well, I bet that got a few people triggered. So what do you believe and why? This one's a little bit different from the moon in that there are things which have been supposedly proven but can be checked quite easily with modern technology. Some people have got what they call a P900 camera. They can see way out into the distance beyond oil rigs and mountains, which should be well below the horizon, judging by the mathematics that show the curvature of the Earth. Also, how about the Bedford-Levy experiment? And similar experiments being redone now. So how did you do? Did you just knee-jerk this one as preposterous because of what's been drummed into you? Or did you think, hey, that's interesting research going on here, and something isn't quite right? Or better still, did you decide to try some experiments yourself to prove it one way or another? What if it really is flat? Or what if it's not flat but 5 times bigger than claimed, but the sun just circles around the top bit where we are? Aren't you excited at the possibilities if these tests raise these types of questions and more? I, for one, am glad these people continue to question and test the assumptions of those too lazy to break the conformity. What are the others afraid of? If they don't find anomalies, surely it's just proof of truth, and if they do find some anomalies, why wouldn't your curiosity be raised? I mean, think about it. A new species of spider is found. The researcher is not hounded and shouted down with preposterousness of the discovery. Why, all the species of spider have already been discovered. You are a fraud, sir. It's something you don't hear. People discovering strangely shaped asteroids are not shouted down or hounded for discovering something new or the fact that it's not a spheroid. Perhaps we decry this new flat Earth research because the person discovering it doesn't have a white coat on. Or because we piously believe once something is deemed to be true, it must be immovable. So here's my point. It's easy to say what you think you know, but think on this. Do you blindly believe everything you've been taught by an authority is correct and need no further investigation? If so, do you think the Spanish Inquisition or the Crusades did sterling work? If you say most is true but some is not, how do you know which to believe? Do teachers that learn at school and then learn to teach and then go back to teach at school get to teach anything different from what they learned originally? For that matter, do you think teaching the same thing over and over again and expecting inquiring mindsets is the definition of insanity? Of course, I say these things knowing you either have a mind that is open to possibilities, or you say you do but really don't. You will surely, though, have to agree that free thinkers are made to be a scarcity in today's world, through conformity of preschool now, where children are encouraged to play together, eat together, nap together at certain times. Then they're put through child's school where they do the same to the chime of a bell, or perhaps some music where they're told to, well, when the music starts, it's time to go to the toilet because class is about to start. God only knows how the next generation will need to have a pee every time they hear Michael Jackson over the music system at work. Then they will go through college or join the forces or go to work under the same times and strictness of work and breaks to time on a clock. One of the only subtle differences between slavery and employment is the corporation doesn't have to provide food, lodging and healthcare directly. The employee pays it themselves, or pays for others who can't afford it through taxes. Thus the corporations can change the labour at any time without responsibility for lodging or infirmity and other things. I can't talk. I've done all this myself, and I continue begrudgingly to do it to this day. I have to wonder, like that character in The Matrix, whether it would be better off knowing you're deceived and forced to abide by the system, or whether you'd rather just be ignorant and happy in the enslavement. I would definitely rather know. I have a particular author to thank for the seed that started that journey too. My mind was opened as a child when my family visited a couple of friends of my parents one night in another country whilst on holiday. I remember being so bored as they talked that I pulled a book from the shelf. I started to read and was so engrossed by the time we had to leave that the husband pushed it back into my hand as I offered it to him, and he said I should keep it. I've never forgotten that day, or the book which opened my mind to the possibilities that things might be different from how they were taught. It was a lot more interesting to learn of strange artifacts and civilizations than the dry and dusty theories presented by academia. The book, in case you're interested, was Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daniken, and although I've sadly lost the copy spoken of here, I made sure I replaced it and have a copy even to this day.